stop scrolling. What is about to happen to Social Security payments in March is something that millions of recipients have not been clearly told about, not by the Social Security Administration, not by the news, not by anyone. The people who find out about it after it happens, instead of before, are going to spend days feeling confused, frustrated, and in some cases genuinely worried that something has gone wrong with their payment. The real answer is much simpler and much more important than that. March of 2026 is not a normal month for Social Security. It never was going to be. Changes that were approved months ago are now landing in the real accounts of real people. Some of those changes add money, some shift payment dates, and some adjust net deposit amounts in ways that will catch recipients completely off guard if they are not prepared for them. Preparation in this case is the difference between confidence and panic. When you open your banking app and see a number you were not expecting, here is what is actually happening and why it matters more than the usual annual adjustment conversation. The biggest change hitting Social Security recipients in March involves something that has been decades in the making. For over 40 years, millions of Americans who worked in public sector jobs, school teachers, firefighters, police officers, government workers, and nurses in public hospitals, received Social Security benefits that were quietly, consistently, and significantly reduced by two provisions buried inside federal law: the Windfall Elimination Provision and the Government Pension Offset. Most people who were affected by these rules never fully understood them. They simply knew their Social Security payment was lower than it should have been and accepted it as something they could not change. They can change it now because both provisions have been repealed. The legislation that ended these reductions passed at the end of 2024. The Social Security Administration has been processing recalculations ever since. In March 2026, a significant wave of those recalculations is hitting accounts. This means retirees who have been receiving reduced payments for years are suddenly seeing higher deposits. Some are seeing increases of $100 per month, some $200, and some significantly more depending on how long they were affected and how large their pension was. Alongside those monthly increases, many recipients are receiving retroactive lump sum payments covering every month they were underpaid since the legislation took effect. Think about what that means for a retired teacher who spent 30 years in a classroom, paid into her state pension, and spent the last 6 years watching her Social Security payment come in $300 lower than her earnings record said it should be. 6 years equals 72 months. A retroactive payment in that situation does not look like a routine deposit. It looks like something went wrong with her account until she understands what it actually is. If you worked in any public sector job at any point in your career, any job where your employer had its own pension system instead of contributing to Social Security, you need to find out right now whether your benefit was reduced under either of these provisions. Do not guess. Do not assume. Call the Social Security Administration directly at 1-800-772-1213 and ask them specifically. If you are owed a recalculation and it has not been processed yet, following up is what makes it happen faster. Waiting is what makes it take longer. Now, the second shift hitting in March involves payment timing, and this one affects every recipient, regardless of work history or pension status. The Social Security payment schedule is built around Wednesdays. Your payment date is determined by your birthday. If you were born between the 1st and 10th, you receive payment on the second Wednesday of the month, which in March falls on the 11th. If you were born between the 11th and 20th, you receive payment on the third Wednesday, March 18th. If you were born between the 21st and 31st, you receive payment on the fourth Wednesday, March 25th. Supplemental Security income recipients already received their March payment on February 27th because March 1st fell on a weekend. Simple enough. But here is where people get confused every single year, and especially in a month like March, when other changes are also happening simultaneously. If your payment date arrives and your deposit looks different from last month, Whether higher, lower, or accompanied by an additional deposit you were not expecting, the instinct for most people is to call their bank and ask what happened. The bank cannot tell you. The bank received whatever the Social Security Administration sent. The answer lives at ssa.gov or at 1-800-772-1213, knowing that in advance saves hours of frustration. The third shift involves net payment amounts, the actual number deposited into your account after Medicare Part B premiums are deducted. This is the number that matters for your budget, and it is the number that surprises the most people every year when it does not match their expectations. Here is the math that catches people off guard. The 2026 cost of living adjustment added 2.5% to gross Social Security benefits. For someone receiving $2,000 per month, that is a $50 increase on paper. But Medicare Part B premiums also increased this year. If your premium went up by $10 per month, your net deposit increase is $40, not $50. If your premium increased more than your COLA gain, which happened to some higher income recipients, your net deposit in March may actually be lower than it was in December, despite the COLA increase. This is not the Social Security Administration making a mistake. It is two separate systems, Social Security and Medicare, adjusting simultaneously in ways that interact with each other in your net deposit. Understanding that interaction is what keeps a confusing bank statement from becoming an unnecessary phone call or an unwarranted worry. Check your My Social Security account at ssa.gov this week. Look at your gross benefit amount and your net deposit amount separately. Understand what is being deducted and why. If the numbers do not match what you expected, you now have the context to understand why. If something looks genuinely wrong rather than simply different, you have the information to ask the right questions when you call. One more thing about March that deserves attention. The Social Security Administration is sending out adjustment notices, recalculation letters, and in some cases, retroactive payment notifications by mail this month. These letters are going to the address on file for your account. If you have moved in the past year and have not updated your address with the Social Security Administration, not with the post office but specifically with the Social Security Administration, those letters may not reach you. A forwarding order does not reliably redirect official Social Security correspondence. Log in to ssa.gov today and confirm your mailing address, your banking information, and your contact details are all current. March is bringing real money to people who have been waiting for it for a long time. It is also bringing confusion to people who were not prepared for what a changed deposit amount means. The difference between those two experiences is simply knowing what to look for.
Yeah, grind mode on, can't kill my drive. Turn the pressure up, I come alive. Grind mode on, I don't fold, I don't quit. Hunger in my chest, every beat I commit. Eyes on the prize, no sleep till it's won. World in my hands when the grind mode's on. Wake up with a vision, I'm locked on the target. Turn pain into fuel, I'm a flame, I spark it. No shortcuts here, I embrace every test. Pressure on my shoulders, still I handle it best. I was made for the climb, every loss, every scar. Built me in the steel, now I shine like a star. If the road gets rough, I just double my speed. Ambition on 10, I was born to lead. Grind mode on, I don't fold, I don't quit. Hunger in my chest, every beat I commit. Eyes on the prize, no sleep till it's won. World in my hands when the grind mode's on. They said limits exist, but I shattered the frame. Every wall in my path is just fuel for the flame. Discipline heavy, but my spirit is free. I don't chase success, success chases me. I'm the storm and the calm, I'm the rise, I'm the proof. Every bar that I drop is the grind in the booth. Blood, sweat, tears, that's the code I trust. I don't wait for the crown, I earn it, I must.